Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So if you listen to enough of these videos, you'll notice that hear me say that I'm not from Atlanta or Georgia. I'm from California. And so I like to speak out a lot about California stuff just because it's a place that used to be the best place, not in the country, but in the world. And within a relatively short amount of time, because of poor leadership, and leadership is a topic that we're going to emphasize over and over again, even though velocity banking is our most popular videos in our, the short lifespan of the channel. Leadership is very important, and it's very important to understand that a place can go from really awesome to really awful in a short amount of time when you do have poor leadership, right? And the only reason I'm here in the Atlanta area is because it was so awful, and this, I'm not even talking about 2020. I came here around 2015, that it was so awful. No job, everything's expensive, too much traffic. And I just felt like there was this like delusion of superiority that's going to kind of collapse like a house of cards, which it kind of did, right? And I had to leave because there was nothing for me, you know? And it was kind of one of those things where like, okay, if there's one redeeming factor here, I would stay, and I just couldn't find even one. And I could feel like in back in 2015, the people I knew were kind of looking down upon me for having left the state because back then it was kind of like the illusion of superiority. Like, why would you leave? California is like the envy of the state, of the country. And it's like, yeah, that was true in the 90s, but if you don't maintain your success or keep what makes you successful and just kind of let things go, then that's not true anymore. And that's essentially what happened with California. The state of California is kind of like a rich kid who inherited all this wealth and squandered it within like 5 to 10 years, right? I'm sure you've heard those stories a lot, but that's essentially what it is. A rich kid who inherited a lot of wealth, perfect weather, great housing, great beaches, nice land, and they just kind of blew it all, I don't know, like on cocaine or something in 5 to 10 years. And it's like, where did my money go? And that's the same thing with California, right? So it's not an accident and I put like a dumpster bin with the state flag, but it's just a mess, especially in cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles. Now, Orange County is a little bit better, but if you go to down to like Los Angeles, like what am I looking at? Right? Like, how is this a thing? And I remember watching like videos of people saying, I'm from a third world country and San Francisco is much more worse than where I'm from. And it's like, how did it get that way? You know? But here's the thing. Let's just do a few Google searches. So Google and YouTube searches. So here's the thing. I remember when it was 2015, I um I was ashamed, right? Because it's like there was still that delusion of superiority among Californian people until the lockdowns happened and then people realized it sucked because they couldn't be delusional anymore. But I remember back in 2015, I just felt so ashamed that I left because everyone's like, why would you leave California? And so the funny thing is that starting from about like 2019, I could see like in media trending about how like California sucks or people are leaving California, right? So if I just type in the phrase leaving California, you could kind of see, and the reason I do incognito mode in Google or in Chrome is so that we can get the most unbiased search results as possible. But you could see LA Times, people leaving California, 700,000 Californians leaving for the Gold State, how California destroyed its middle class. And you could see that this is not like 5 years ago. This is like recent. I'm pretty sure you could find documentaries like 5, 7 years ago. But back then, 5, 7 years ago, when I left California for Georgia, you could never find any media like this. It was like, oh, it's still the good times, right? It's still the good times. Leaving California. Oh, this outdoor chef 1 day ago. Leaving California, leaving California, San Francisco, scary. Moving back to California. So this person did the opposite. Graham Stephen. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I know who he is. Okay. I drove around California for a month. It was a disaster. See, look at that. Look at Los Angeles. I'm like, what is that? That's not real. That's like you have to like purposely do a bad job. Like that's what I mean. Like rich kid who lost everything doing cocaine in like 5 to 10 years. And the fact that it took such a little time and relatively short time is probably the most amazing thing. Because even if I wanted to, I probably couldn't have done such a bad job. You know what I'm saying? Like no normal human being can do this, but apparently they did it in Southern California. So my point is that if I had done a Google search or a YouTube search like 2015, there's no way that these videos would have been there because they weren't in the zeitgeist, the landscape, right? Now, if I do a Google search in the Google search engine of leaving California, let's just do this. So there's the actual documentary. I've thought about paying, but then they make you kind of pay and then they like recharge your credit card. But I might just like pay and then cancel right after. But you have the documentary Leaving California. Um, you know, you have all these other ones. Pods, if you don't know what Pods is, I think like a moving company or like you put all your stuff in and then move all your storage in like the pods. And so they have an article, USA Today. Again, these are all like recent. It's recent in the media. If we looked at done Google search since 2015, this would have never appeared. But now it's like the trend. People are moving to states like Florida, Texas, and it's just you know, what a disaster. Like why? And here's the thing. I remember when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, I would go to like these Mexican restaurants, like where I used to tutor, and then like I remember this, I kind of made like semi-friends with this one sh Mexican cook, and he was talking because like I speak fluent Spanish, right? And so he was talking to me, and I was asking like, "Yo, what do you think about like the United States?" He's like, "Oh, I don't really like it here, and I love Mexico. I kind of want to go back." And I was like, "Dude, that's kind of weird because like the way I was taught, or I guess socialized from the media, is that everybody loves America. Immigrants want to come here." And but I kind of understand now that I'm older, like the feeling that you get that yeah, you had to leave your beloved hometown or whatever, but because it was so bad. Like the place was good, but the people in charge were bad. I get that now. You know, back then when I asked that Mexican cook, like, what? I don't really get it. Like you went into a van of like 8 to 12 people to cross the border, risk your life, and you're telling me like you like it better at home? That makes no sense to me. And I get that feeling now because yeah, it sucks back home. It sucks back home in California, but we had it all. We had the good memories. We had the culture. What happened? It's because the people in charge sucked. And that's what the effect of poor leadership is, right? And that's why I created this group because I'm hoping, and I don't know if I'll be successful, that we're going to create the next generation of good leaders, that we don't turn Georgia, my new home, into a dump, but it seems like it's getting there because, bad values and bad leadership are kind of turning the state into kind of a place you don't want to be. You know? It's like if the place that you came from sucked, when you go to your new home, don't do what you did before, right? But sometimes people are doing that. You get what I'm saying? All right. So this is Korean Atlanta mentorship. If you're interested in joining a group, go ahead and click the Google form link below, and just give us a shout out. Say, hey, I'm interested in joining. Or you could email us, find out our email in the about page of our YouTube channel. Just send us an email saying you're interested in joining. And we have different educational programs that we offer to our audience. And we want to create a mentorship group, both online and offline. So yeah, that's it for today. Have a great day, and we will speak next time.